This request for names is somehow a bridge too far. A senior Hamas official quoted as saying, Israel's condition for a list of living hostages in order to resume negotiations for a ceasefire cannot be a pressure point. Think about what a minor ask this is. One could argue that Israel should move forward with a ceasefire deal even without getting the names of the hostages currently alive. Okay, maybe. But can you imagine if this was all reversed, right? If what was preventing a ceasefire was Israel's refusal to provide, I don't know, names of Hamas detainees currently being held in Israeli prisons, the world would go nuts on Israel. In a moment, we'll be speaking with an Israeli government spokesperson who is sitting next to me right here in studio. But first, let's talk to Cenk Uygur. He's the founder and host of the Young Turks. He's been an outspoken critic of Israel. Cenk, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate it. This seems like a small ask, no?
Yeah, a very small ask. It makes me think that there's more dead hostages than they're letting on, and that they might not have access to some of the hostages that it might be in other radical groups. And so this one's a no-brainer. If they've got the names, they should give them over. There's no reason not to. It's a dumb thing to hold up a ceasefire over. The Palestinians need aid immediately. Dan, I will say, though, I think this ceasefire, I'm amazed that they're willing to accept it outside of the name situation, because Netanyahu is saying right after the ceasefire is over, we're going to go back to pummeling Gaza. I'm not sure the Palestinians get anything out of this. I know Hamas gets a bunch of prisoners back, but I don't see this helping the Palestinians nearly enough.
But again, Hamas is also saying that they're going to have more October 7ths, right? They're promising that as well, no matter what happens here. So, you know, both sides are clearly talking about fact that Hamas is the issue, right? So Hamas is insisting in every one of these peace deals, in any one of these ceasefires, that they have to remain in power. That shouldn't there be outrage, international outrage about that?
So, but there is. I don't want Hamas to be in power. I didn't want them doing October 7th. I think they're a fundamentalist organization that has been counterproductive. But an organization is not going to voluntarily end itself. So as much as we might want it, it is an ask that is unreasonable enough to continue hostilities ad infinitum. So the issue here is on Israel for a couple of reasons, Dan. Number one, we barely have any leverage over Hamas. We have tremendous leverage over Israel. We're refusing to carry it out. Number two, further October 7th, we should guard against it. We've got Iron Dome. We've got a massive Israeli military, etc. We should guard vigilantly against it, which Netanyahu did not do, and he's totally responsible for what happened. But Israel is in the middle of doing the massacres, the war crimes, the genocide, has killed 30,000 people already. Enough, enough, enough. So this is a future maybe attack by Hamas is not enough justification to continue to kill innocent Palestinians.
But again, you're willing to lump in on the 30,000, the Hamas fighters, terrorists who've been killed as they do, right, with civilians. They put them all together, and you're willing to do that as well?
All right, Dan. No. So here's the situation, Dan. So if you want to take out the military guys, both in Hamas and IDF on October 7th, we can do that. It's no big deal, and I don't mind. Part of the problem is that we don't know the exact numbers. IDF has made up a number. They've lied about almost every single thing that they've put out in this war.
But you trust Hamas's
numbers.
I
don't trust their 12,000 numbers. No, I trust independent groups that have verified the Palestinian Health Ministry's numbers. So I'm not doing it just based on what Palestinians say or what Israelis say. But, Dan, even if that were the case, so let's take the outrageous propaganda that IDF put out that it was 12,000 Hamas fighters. That still means there's 18,000 women, children, and men killed that were innocent, let alone the 500,000 people that are starving, Dan. It's not just about the Palestinians that are in awful, awful shape, and we must help them as human beings. It's also about Israel. This is starving 500,000 people in front of the whole world's eyes is terrible for Israel.
It is.
They have to turn around right now.
Look, the bottom line is the situation is terrible for Israel, right? Anytime civilians die, it's bad for Israel. You just conceded that, right? So the notion that Israel is intentionally executing, you called them massacres, you called it a genocide. You know Israel doesn't benefit from civilian deaths, right? You just admitted that.
No.
Then I misunderstood you.
There's a really important distinction here. Yeah, there's a really important distinction, Dan. because there is no Israel or all of the Israeli people, or even the Israeli government. There's right wing, there's left wing. Israelis are just like anyone else. There's a great variety of opinion. Most of Israel has already turned on Netanyahu. So when we talk about Israel in this context, it's Netanyahu's right wing government. So, yes, the Israeli people do not benefit from this at all, and that's why they have to have new elections to get rid of Netanyahu. And they're never going to put in a guy I want, right? But they have to put in some sort of moderate to turn around before their reputation is destroyed across the world. But this right-wing government does benefit from more war, more occupation. And remember, a lot of the cabinet is religious zealots who have no interest in not only Palestinians or the rest of the world, but even the rest of Israel. So you've got to get these people out. It's the right-wing government of Israel that's the problem.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.